Welcome to Sterling Visionary Voices, the podcast dedicated to bringing you diverse, innovative leadership insights and actionable strategies for success. Join hosts Laura McNeil and Bob Medeiros as they explore the art and science of role model leadership through thought-provoking conversations with real professionals. Whether you're a seasoned leader or aspiring to excellence, Sterling Visionary Voices is your guide to navigating the complexities of your leadership journey.
Hello and welcome to Sterling Visionary Voices. I'm your host, Bob Medeiros, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to a very special episode that I believe you'll find interesting. I'll start by introducing our panel of guests who have joined me for this unique introduction from the Sterling Council. Let's start with Ms. Deon Geiger, the president of the Sterling Council and co-chair of the Sterling Leadership Conference. Deon, welcome.
Welcome, Bob, Julie, and Deborah. Nice to be here today and excited to talk about our new mascot.
Excellent. Fantastic. Now, next we have Ms. Julie Lewis, Vice President of Community Engagement for the USF Credit Union and Sterling Board of Directors. Julie, it is so nice to have you with us today.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Great. And finally, to round out this august panel, I want to welcome Ms. Deborah Schultz, Chair Emeritus of the Sterling Council and co-chair of the Sterling Leadership Conference. Hello, Deborah, and welcome to Visionary Voices.
Thank you, Bob. It is super exciting to be here.
All right, fantastic. Well, folks, I'm so happy to have you all joining us today to talk a little bit about an exciting new addition to the Sterling Council team. Now, Disney has its Mickey Mouse, Geico Insurance has their Gecko, and for you sports-minded individuals, Philadelphia has either the Fanatic, if you're an MLB, a Major League Baseball person, or Gritty if you're into the NHL, depending on your sports preference. But one thing is for certain, that in the 34 years of the council, one thing we've never had is a mascot. And that is until now. Today's episode of Visionary Voices will lean in on this topic and introduce a new chapter, who she is, where she came from, and what she means to the Sterling Council and our processes. So, to start out, Deon, would you please introduce us to this new face of Sterling?
Well, we have a new face of Sterling that we're so excited about. And as Bob suggested, in 34 years, we've never had a Sterling mascot. And this year, when we were as our marketing team, as we were going through some issues, one of our marketing team members did an image of an owl. And with our Sterling colors, blue and silver and gold, and it just really caught our imagination, our attention, because the owls, and we're calling it a she, the owl that we identified as our mascot. We thought it was very apropos, but given who Sterling is and what we're all about, to have a very wise and a very forward-thinking individual joining our team, the mascot, and we've named her Sterling, and we named her Adley. It's just an incredible way for us to be able to give a face and a name and an image that we think will really will connect with people, because we all are affiliated with different sport teams and have different associations with different groups. And usually a mascot is a key part of a team. And you identify with that Gator if you're a Florida Gator, or that Bull if you're in South Florida, or Miami, you have that Hurricane and the Hurricane figure. So it's always good to have that other mascot or messaging around another individual or mascot that can really bring identity to who you are. So we're excited to have the owl as that new identity and that new mascot for Sterling. And she's going to be called Adley. So we're excited even about the name.
All right. Well, now, as I understand it, Julie, you really were the incubator of this concept. Could you tell our audience a little about how the idea came up, how you started to develop this whole mascot concept?
Yes, thanks, Bob. I love that question. And I have to say the idea really came from a simple truth. Processes are great. We need them, but they're kind of boring. They don't really connect with people. what people connect with are stories, something they can really wrap their minds around, wrap their hearts around. So the Sterling Council has always stood for something meaningful. We know that excellence, consistency, service. But when I was invited to get involved, which now they may be regretting, I realized that we now have an opportunity to bring all of that to life in a way that people could instantly recognize and feel connected to and have some fun with, and honestly, the research backs that up. You mentioned some of the great mascots out there. They're also called fluent devices if you get into the marketing world. But think about when someone sends you a picture versus a long text, which one draws your attention quicker? They say visuals are processed 60,000 times faster than text. 60,000 times. So having that visual out there is really going to get attention quicker than a whole lot of word salad or jumble would be. And studies also show that when information is paired with a character or a story, people retain it dramatically more. In fact, messages delivered that way can be remembered up to 20 times more than facts alone. So in a world where attention is scarce, everyone wants those 6-second quick bites, the quick videos, the quick attention grabbers. We have to do anything we can to cut through all of that noise. And that's exactly where Adley comes in.
Wow. Very good. I guess your role as Vice President of Community Engagement for your credit union, really, this whole concept is really in your wheelhouse. So we're so glad to have you on the team as this kind of rolls out. And I do have to congratulate you on introducing me to a new term, the fluent devices. So I had to write it down.
And, Bob, I just like to add, when Julie presented that to us and sent a few of us the email with the visual of the owl, it immediately just captured my imagination. It captured my attention. I didn't even read what she had said. I looked at the image, and now she had a few words around it. And, and obviously she was communicating a message with the owl. But several of us looked at it. I remember I sent it to several other people and said, wow, look at this, because it just immediately was, just captured your imagination and your interest. And I think she's right. The visual of something, it can be so powerful. So I want to thank Julie for having that creativity and that innovation to come up with a visual image that we all just immediately said, wow, this is really key. And Sterling can really use this owl as our mascot and something that would really help people understand a little bit more about Sterling. So thank you, Julie. That was just an incredible inspiration.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And definitely my role in the community kind of helped spur this idea along. That's what people are wired for. They're wired for 4 main things: faces, stories, characters, and repetition. And mascots kind of combine all 4 of those, and they appeal to multiple generations. So as much as I like to think I can relate to anyone and fit into any group, I'm probably not as hip as I used to be. And so I probably can't do the job that a mascot could do. So that's why it's important. We have to bridge that gap and appeal to all age groups, all demographics. And, and fun fact, mascots have been doing this for a very long time. It's nothing new. One of the very first mascots was Mr. Peanut. And that was way back in 1916. So over 100 years later, people still recognize him as soon as they see him, and they know what brand that is. So hopefully just that's foreshadowing of how long people are going to think of Sterling.
Yes.
All right. Well, with every mascot, of course, there's usually a name associated with it. Mr. Peanut for, golly, which peanuts are they? Mr. Peanut peanuts, right?
Planters.
Planters, thank you.
Planters, I know. I actually have one of the old jars.
Planters.
Yeah.
There you go. But so everyone generally has a name associated. Deborah, why don't you share the process around how our friendly owl ended up getting her name?
Well, as you know, Julie designed Adley, our new mascot. And as Dion said, we loved her at first sight. Her big eyes. We started with some kind of cutesy names, but we knew she had to represent Sterling and what we stood for. We already know the owl stands for being wise, knowledgeable, all-seeing with those big eyes. So we thought, what would best represent the Sterling? And we have this acronym called Adley. And we just knew, it was like an aha moment. Yes, Adley would be perfect because it stands for something that is near and dear to Sterling's heart. And you might ask, what does Adley stand for? Well, it stands for approach, deployment, learning, and integration. And in deployment, in approach, it's your process. We all have processes. Everything we do is a process. So what is your process and how do you use those processes? How does the work get done? And then deployment, how and where processes are applied and who uses them. How consistently is the process used and by whom? L, again, is learning, the knowledge through evaluation, improvement, and benchmarking. How has your process or your work been improving? And then integration, the linkage, and the interconnectedness of all your approaches and your processes. And how does that work with other processes and systems? So this process is very wise and it shows about knowledge. So what better name for our new mascot as Adley? And it's cute and it looks she looks like Adley when you look at her. And if you are listening as a listener, she's so wise and so important. We did a whole summer learning series about Adley. So you can really learn what that all means. And you can go to our Sterling website at www.thesterlingcouncil.com under the summer learning series and see PowerPoints, see repeats of the broadcast, as well as summary notes about what Adley's all about. I'm sure Dion would like to add more to that.
Yeah,
Right.
and Deborah, the Adley is, immediately it was interesting because our chairman, Roland Martinez, when we were sitting there looking at the new wise owl that Julie had created, and we were even trying to decide whether it was going to be a he or a she. We were going back and forth on different discussions, but immediately a few of us were chatting and saying, what are we going to name the owl? At the time we weren't sure whether it was going to be a she or a he, but we made it a she. And we said, why not Adley? Because Adley is really the foundation of the Sterling assessment processes. I mean, we have the criteria that is basically 6 categories of process and the results categories, but the criteria doesn't stand by itself. You have to use a scoring rubric or a scoring evaluation tool to really be able to understand how well an organization is performing. How mature are they? And that's where Deborah talked about Adley, and she talked about the approach, deployment, learning, and integration. And it is that system that really looks for how you evaluate an organization's processes, their performance. How effective is an organization? You have to have a methodology or an approach to really evaluate how well your organization is performing. And the criteria is our framework for performance excellence, but Adley is the methodology by which we evaluate how good is someone. We're always saying, how mature is someone? How mature is an organization? Are they at the beginning stages? Are they in the evolving and developing stages? Are they mature? And if they're mature, they typically have results that show how effective they are. But when we use Adley as an evaluation tool, it really does resonate with any organization, any process. In fact, when we taught it this summer, we taught it by using a restaurant and a business model. We didn't, the criteria is wonderful and Sterling has that framework for excellence, but the evaluation tool, Adley, can be used with any organization, any type of organization, and should be used for any organization to say, how good are we performing? How do we know when we need to improve? How do we know how well everyone understands what's important? How do we communicate and deploy that? And I know we talk to organizations all the time. We're always testing for those processes. We're testing for the deployment across the organization. We're testing for and evaluating, have they really improved? Have they continuously improved a process? And how do they know why it needed to be improved? Are they looking at the results? Are they looking at their data? Are they getting feedback from their customers or stakeholders? their employees to understand whether something's working well or not and needs to be improved. And how well integrated is it? Because if you work in silos, which is one of the things that a lot of organizations have a tendency to do, and you don't look at your system as an integrated approach to how you work, then you're not going to be very mature, and so we thought that by naming her Adley, that would support the foundation of what Sterling's all about. And that is that framework and that rubric for how you really evaluate and measure how well your organization is performing and how well all those processes are working and how mature are they.
That's a really good point. It also gives us an opportunity, as the name's out there, as that mascot's out there, to go, each of us be able to address, hey, here's where that name came from, and tie it all back into, what the excellence model kind of is talking about. Very good.
And what a great name. I think it's going to be the most popular girl's name of 2026.
That's right.
Right now.
Go, Julie, go. Girl power. And, it was interesting because we had a lengthy discussion of whether, what was it going to be, a she or a he? And we decided you really needed, we wanted her to be, we wanted the owl, Adley, to be a she, because, Adley could be, either he or she, but we decided, no, we really wanted it to be the voice of Adley. We wanted it to be a she. And we had a really, we think it's a much more, it just felt calming. It felt reassuring. It felt, it just felt a little bit more connected to what we're all about. We're trying to help people understand in a very calm and deliberative way why it's important to improve and why it's important to continue to make sure that you're moving your organization forward and not standing still. Because the organizations that are, yeah, and plus she's beautiful. Plus she is beautiful. I must admit, Julie, when she created her, made her a very beautiful owl. And so we are so excited to have, Adley the owl, and just are going to be looking forward to rolling her out, not only with some social media pushes this week and next. And we're going to be introducing her visually to the Sterling world through our social media platforms, but we will also be focusing on her and really showcasing her at the conference as well. And she's not going anywhere. She's going to continue to be our mascot for, once you agree on something like this, and we think she's just the perfect image and the perfect mascot for Sterling, she will, I think, continue to just help us promote what Sterling's all about. And will people say, why Adley? We can talk about what Adley really means.
Right. Now I don't want to give anything away, but Deborah, I understand that you've really grown close to Adley, this spokesperson, including personally providing the voice of Adley. Can you tell us a little bit about what you anticipate that being all about?
Well, I'm the type of person, I'm serious about my work and process and improvement and quality, but I like to do it with fun and being easygoing. And I think Dion, being the wise woman she is, called and asked if I would be the voice. I was a bit surprised. When you hear your own voice, you're always like, oh, is that me? And I don't think you always like your own voice, but Dion assured me that it was a fun-loving and easygoing voice. And that's the kind of person I am. And even though Adley is serious and she takes her job seriously, she's lighthearted, she's fun, and she just wants to have joy in life and work.
And I think that was important because I think Julie created the perfect image and mascot for us. But I think having that voice of Sterling, being someone who really represents both the serious side of things, Deborah, and you have been a very serious in the process and Six Sigma and, improvement and, teamwork and continuous improvement, but you also know how to have fun and know how to really, and I think in work, and I was just talking to one of my team leaders this morning about that very thing, that if we don't step back and enjoy what we're doing along the way and don't have fun, then we're missing out. We're missing out on the joy. I even remember listening to the football teams pre-Super Bowl and some of the coaches and some of the message they even told their players. I know this is we're in this game to win it, but have fun, enjoy the game.
What's the purpose?
I think that's, what's the purpose if you don't enjoy it?
Right.
So I think with Adley, we're going to be able to bring some joy, not only purpose around what Adley stands for, but I think some joy and some fun. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited about that because I think she can really just bring that genuine kind of personality to what Sterling is all about.
Right. It's interesting. This is all fun, and I've enjoyed being engaged with you guys during the development of it. But I think the first thing that Adley's really going to go to town on here is introducing leaders out there to our Sterling Leadership Conference that's coming up. Dion, can you share a little bit about the conference that's coming up?
Well, let's talk about the conference that's coming up May 26th through 29th in Orlando at the JW Marriott Bonnet Creek. Deborah's my co-chair, and we're just so excited about bringing the best of the best to you this year. We've enhanced the conference, the learning experience. We've added a new leadership development track that is just going to be incredible. We have 6 certification tracks. We're adding a manufacturing summit and bringing our manufacturers in for a couple of days as part of the conference as well. And we are just going to be stepping up the game this year with our learning, with our education, with everything we're doing at the conference. And our conference, as you know, or for those of you who are part of Sterling, is rated consistently. I think for the last decade, it's been consistently 100% overall satisfaction. Last year, the top box was in the 70% satisfaction. Our conference is a great experience because of the learning, education, and the focus on leadership performance. It's all about growing leaders in the state of Florida and Georgia and across the country, but we focus on Florida and Georgia, which is our 2 states that we primarily focus on as part of our assessment methodology. And we want to just really bring that leadership knowledge to the process side of things. So our conference is the melding of leadership and leadership development with performance improvement and what we can offer in terms of that framework for performance excellence. So I think it's the melding of 2 great concepts, leadership and performance excellence. And we really do it well. And we know our feedback is tremendous. So we're excited about not only launching Adley officially as part of the conference, but we are also excited about just what the offerings that we're launching as part of this conference that are brand new this year. And Deborah, you might want to add something to that because you're part of that team on the conference.
Everyone says this, if you're part of a conference, that this is best conference. But this really is one of the best conferences you can go to for the money. It's a great value. You meet so many amazing people that are not necessarily in your field, which I think is always tremendous when you're benchmarking best practices. And these people are intellectually at the top of their game. So you not only get to meet people from all across the state of Florida and Georgia, but just people that are experts in their field. And you learn so much. The sessions are amazing. Our keynote speaker and our closing speaker is amazing. And you really get a lot out of it. You really will. And I think one of the good things about our conference that I don't know if other people mimic it now or not, but we always have what we call a tangible takeaway at the end of every single session. You can sit there and take notes and all that kind of stuff, but who else actually gives you a document that you can take back to your organization and implement right away? It's a really good value. So it's just a tremendous conference. We do something also that's a lot of fun. One of my favorite things is called speed learning. It's like speed dating, but you get to take away a lot more than you might in speed dating. So it's 15 minutes of fun and knowledge. We blow a whistle after 15 minutes. You run to another table and then another table, and you get 15 minutes of fast and furious learning. So it's just all in all a great conference. I love it.
All right. Very good.
Yeah, and I know, Julie, you've been coming to our conference for a good number of years as well. And I know you'll be a speaker this year, and so will Bob at our conference. Obviously, we invite just incredible people to come and share, across, like Deborah said, across sectors. You'll have healthcare, manufacturing, you'll have the service industry, you'll have not-for-profit and government. And, you'll also just have people from all walks of life, from the C-level down to just employees that are coming to learn and to grow and to become more effective leaders in the work that they do. So it's a good cross section of not only industries, but just individuals. So you can learn across an organization what high performance looks like. So I think it's an exciting opportunity if you're, and it's open. We call it the leadership conference, but it's so we can help you at every level of your organization develop leadership skills. Everyone in an organization is a leader, and we want you to know that we can help you develop those leadership skills. So come and learn, and then we definitely will share with you about what it takes to be high performing based on our model of performance excellence. And you can just go back with so many tools and techniques. So look forward to seeing everyone again at the end of May at the JW Marriott, Bonnet Creek. It's on Disney. It's on Disney property. It's beautiful.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Well, any last input from the team about Adley, the owl, who she is, where she came from, and what she represents?
No, other than to thank Julie again for her inspiration and innovation around creating what has become our mascot now, Adley the owl. I mean, she just did an incredible job of she brings new ideas, fresh ideas. And I think this is going to be something that's going to bring new life and just new imagination to what Sterling's all about. So I want to thank Julie personally for her inspiration around Adley the owl, and thank Deborah for being the voice of Adley and to bringing that personality to Adley. And we look forward. Yeah. And Bob, thank you for agreeing to host the podcast and sharing all this good information with our team out there that wants to hear more about what Sterling's up to these days.
Very good. Well, I'd like to thank each of you, Deborah, Julie, and Dion, for sharing this story. Folks out there, keep your eyes out on LinkedIn and Facebook and other social media to actually see Adley, and follow her to the 34th Sterling Leadership Conference, May 26th through 29th at that JW Marriott, Bonnet Creek on the Disney property. To get more information, go to thesterlingconference.com for details on this informative leadership conference. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank everyone out there for joining us here at Sterling Visionary Voices. Remember, to hear other episodes, just go to sterlingvisionaryvoices.com. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Sterling Visionary Voices, Insights for Role Model Leadership from the Sterling Council. Discover more and connect with us at sterlingvisionaryvoices.com.